Well, greetings all. I am here to discuss one brand new movie that came out recently called Weapons. I went to go see it with my friends on opening day, and me just being 100% honest, I personally did not like the movie. Now, the film has a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a majority of people I've seen talk about it just really like the movie, but it's just not for me. So if you want to avoid some spoilers, if you're planning to go see it, do not let my opinion stop you from going to see the movie because, it is my opinion at the end of the day. So when I was going to see this movie, I had absolutely no idea what I'd be going to see. I had only seen one ad on TikTok of the movie and it looked pretty scary. I had no idea that I'd also be buying a comedy ticket for the very low price of $15. You can go see this spectacle, at least down here in Florida. And wow, never had I gone into something expecting to be scared, but left laughing my ass off. I was pretty much laughing the entire time, which I don't know if that's what the film was aiming to do because it's kind of under discussion if it's a horror / comedy, but the way it was advertised it's pretty scary, and I don't think I was scared at all. I was not scared. Now, there are some things I think the film does pretty well, like some of the concepts, with the different point of views leading up to the final big shebang at the end of the film where the reveal happens, like, oh my God, look who's controlling all these people, all these kids. Like, that part was pretty cool, but then there were some times that I was like, why are we doing this? It got to a point where the film, for me personally, felt like it was dragging on a little bit too long. Like, during all the different point of views, you'd see, like, for example, the principal, his point of view, I feel like he was just kind of lobbed into it. And there's a certain part in the film where the dad of one of the kids is going to confront the teacher, and he forgives them so quickly after seeing the principal just straight up attack her, which I don't know if it makes sense or not, but that part was pretty silly. The run was hilarious that the kids did. Every time it was on the screen, I was just straight cackling. I was laughing, having a good old time, throwing popcorn in the air, getting ready to say chicken jockey. And then I'm kind of going all over the place in this film right now, but the dad of one of the missing kids, he's having a nightmare, right? Which is a common theme amongst the people who are a part of this story, as well as the teacher had a nightmare. Now the father is having a nightmare that's leading him to put together the pieces of where his missing son is. And at some point, he locates a house that the kid ran into in his nightmare. And then there's just a floating gun above the house. Like, I guess it's kind of signifying that the children are being used as weapons. I don't know. But it's just a straight up golden scar floating above the house with a stat track counter on it with the time that all the kids went missing. And then we never hear from that again. It never pops up again. I mean, I was trying to put together the pieces. I'm like, wow, did they just think this was like a cool thing they could do and they just threw it in there for shits and giggles, or did it have any other significance? But yeah, we never see that again. But after that, the dad finally looks at the footage and realizes, wow, my son, Attack on Titan runs straight through the forest in this direction. It doesn't look like he changes direction. So he busts out a big map, he slams it on the desk, and he starts drawing a line. And it leads somewhere. So then he goes to one of the other missing kids' parents who had a Ring camera. Oh, I forgot to mention that all this is on a Ring camera, that it catches the kids running. He goes to one of the people whose children are also missing. He asks if he can see the footage. The mom, who answers the door first, says, absolutely not. And then he camps outside their house like a psychopath and waits for the dad to get there. And then he asks the dad, and the dad says yes. And the mom in the next scene is in the background, just like pissed off that the dad is showing this man the footage. And then he does some detective work to then draw a line, and they intercross at a certain house on the map. And then the story continues. We change POVs to a police officer who is a big douchebag who's cheating on what I can only assume to be his girlfriend or his wife. I don't remember. He's a dick. Then he gets poked by a needle, probably got AIDS from some random junkie, who we switch POVs to the junkie, who is the big reveal of where all these people are. And this junkie is hilarious. I mean, he breaks into the house where the missing children are kept, and he sees both parents just sitting on the couch, not moving a muscle, not looking at him, robbing their house. He's like, "Are you guys good? Are you guys okay?" No response, and then he just keeps going with them right behind him, and he just keeps robbing the house. Because why not? We need that money. And then he leaves. He leaves the house after seeing all the children in the basement. He's like, "Oh my God." And what does he do? He doesn't go and report this, out of the goodness of his heart. He goes and sells the spoons that he robbed from the house. He sells the spoons that he robbed. And then after he sees the poster on the wall with the $50,000 reward, that's when he's like, "Oh, maybe I should report this." But during the police sequence, the cop said, because the cop did some police brutality bullshit. Like, he absolutely, that was disgusting. The cop does some absolute police brutality BS. He punches that guy after he stabs him with the needle, because he was like, "Oh, you got anything in your pockets?" The guy says, "No, man, no." Then he gets stabbed by the needle, and then he bam, wackos him. But it gets caught on the cop car's dash camera. So to avoid a police report or avoid getting in trouble, he lets the guy go and says, "If I ever see you around here again, next time it won't be so whatever he said. You won't get so lucky," or some bullshit. So he lets him go. But then since the guy saw the $50,000 reward, he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to go get that money." And first, he tries calling so he doesn't show up, and he doesn't get noticed because he is a junkie. And he decides to get high before this phone call, so he's making absolutely zero sense to the police. So of course the police ignore him. And then the cop sees the guy again, chases him into a tent. And while he's running to the tent, he sees some old lady in the forest who's a pivotal point of this movie doing some voodoo magic bullshit. So he hides in a tent after seeing the old lady. But when the tent opens, it's the cop. And before the cop opens the tent, the junkie arms himself with more needles and straight up stabs the cop in the face with 3 fucking needles. So the cop is extra pissed and about to blast this guy in the face. But then he starts playing, "No, I know where those kids are. I know where they are. Please, I'll show you." And the cop puts the guy in the back with handcuffs, and then they pull up to the house where he robbed the people. Cop opens the door. The door gets open for the cop, and then he goes in. Never heard from for a couple hours. The guy, the poor junkie, is stuck in the back of the cop car for hours, waiting for the cop to come back out. And eventually he does, but there's something off about him. He's just standing there at the door. Ooh, spooky, spooky. And then, whammo, he takes the junkie and takes him into the house. And then later, we see the principal's POV with that old lady we saw in the forest earlier. Turns out she is the aunt of one of the only kids that did not go missing from that classroom. And then she talks to the principal. The principal's saying he has to get CPS involved because Alex, which is the kid's name, or I'm pretty sure that's the kid's name. I'm sorry. I'm not making a lot of sense because I'm going all over the place, but I just really want to talk about this movie. The kid is not doing well or something, or I forgot what it was, that CPS has to get involved, and he's he may have to call. But then the lady says, no, his parents are sick, and they can speak to you around this time, whatever. And then we fast forward to the principal at home with his lover, and they're watching. They got straight glizzies. They got 6 glizzies on a tray. They're ready to bust it down with those glizzies. And then the doorbell rings, and it's the old lady again. She welcomes herself into the home, asking if they have water or whatever, guilt trips them into letting her in. And then here comes the reveal that she is the crazy mad woman with the stick. She cuts her hand, blood, gets hair from one of the guys or something, or she had the cord from the principal's office, breaks the stick, and he's in mind control mode now. He's going nuts. He's going crazy. And then she puts the other dude's hair, she cuts his hair, puts it on the stick, and then breaks the stick again. And then he goes to kill his lover with his head, straight bashes his head in. Now, that was one of the good parts, the gory parts, you know. That shit was crazy. I was like, wow, we're finally getting somewhere. And then it's all immediately washed away when I see him T-pose run out the door. And that's when we meet back up with the teacher and the dad, and that's where that whole part intersects, you know? Another cool moment there, another cool story developing moment. And then he starts chasing the teacher outside of the gas station, and then he gets whammoed by a car, and he explodes and fucking dies. And that's when the teacher and the dad, who literally hated the teacher's guts not even 30 minutes ago, get in the car together and start plotting to see what's going on. And that's when they connect the dots that the house that could harbor the missing kids or has something weird going on is actually the one student who didn't go missing's house. So they pull up and they just camp out there, and they see a cop car. And then the cop steps outside the door and does some hand gesture or something. And then, of course, you know, horror movie logic, we're just going to go into the house. The crazy house on our own, unarmed, nothing. And this is when the end of the film starts, you know, coming into frame here. They see all the children. The dad sees his missing kid, but the kid is snapped out of it. And then, you know, the crazy old lady does some voodoo magic. Woo! And they all start attacking the dad and the teacher. But luckily, the dad and the teacher did something crazy. First of all, the teacher shot her, the guy who was having an affair with her, in the face because he was going to kill her. Not really that sad of a death. Dude was a piece of shit. And then the dad is getting attacked by the junkie, and the junkie keeps getting up and getting up and getting up, and it is so funny. Oh my God, I was laughing so hard during that part. And then eventually the kid who is having to deal with all this trauma eventually learns the voodoo magic and puts a piece of the crazy old lady's hair on the stick, breaks the stick, and all the people under control start to go attack the lady. And it's all the kids running out of the house, jumping through windows. They are jumping through glass windows. It is so funny. They are running through several houses, destroying everything until the old lady falls. And they fucking rip her head apart like this. Just straight split that shit. Oh my God. That was awesome. So funny. But and it sounds like I'm praising it, but it was like, I still thought this film was bad. Like, I thought it was bad. I mean, a bunch of people like it, so I guess, you know, to each their own, but I know whatever I said didn't make sense, but I just really wanted to talk about whatever was on my mind, bro. This film is just not for me. But if you have seen Weapons, let me know what you think. Why you think it's good. Why am I a fucking idiot and don't like it? But, you know, thank you for listening to my yapathon. And maybe I'll do more stuff like this. Maybe I'll yap some more.